Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from
your company name here.
Studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
Oh shit. Don's looking extra perturbed today.
And
I can't
let's
hear
try
him
it
at all.
again. What's up, OG5? That's what happens when you're forced to
Told you not
change
to touch
pods. And you have to go from pot 3 to pot 2, and you still got pot 2 muted. But it's been one of those days.
I was going to say, you do look extra perturbed
Before we get into all that, we'll get into some of this. Joining us from across the Great Plains of the United States from the desert of Las Vegas, Nevada. Soon maybe broadcasting from here in Cape Coral, Florida for a short period of time, Mr. Gordon Abernathy. Gordon, how you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing apparently better than you, but I'm doing all right. We are battening down the hatches. We are going to have 70-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts this evening.
Desert sandstorm. Now, when you get 77-plus miles per hour, I know you take great pride in being a man of a cleanly garage. Does one pull thy vehicles into thy house to protect thy paint from thy sand?
The vehicles are always in the garage to protect thy paint from thy sun.
They don't call him Johnny Clearcoat for nothing.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing a little home installation of ceramic coating here soon.
Really? You're gonna take that challenge? That's ballsy.
It's just like applying wax. Literally.
Speaking of applying wax, coming from the deep, dark depths of the Forum area in Fort Myers, Florida, he's usually got his head up your pipe. Mike knows from the last name. What's up, Mike?
Wait a minute. What?
You're a plumber. You got your head up a pipe.
Oh, my God.
Looking down the barrel.
Gentlemen.
Of a gun. Son of a gun.
Smelling some stank.
Son of a bitch.
Gentlemen, it's
Getting
Tuesday.
paid. Getting rich.
Well, yeah. Well, it's Monday for me because it's so funny. I sat there and
He's got one of them
people,
jobs that works in government hours.
But even when I was in a non-union shop, we always had President's Day off. I thought that was a normal thing. President's Day used to be one of the biggest holiday weekends of the ski season because everybody had that 3-day weekend. Hell, it goes all the way back to when we were kids. We'd go to Terre Haute, Indiana.
Yes, but
President's Day weekend.
You're thinking of a old man in a repressive society. See, we've had to adjust our
Is that
holiday.
why I'm wearing the hat today?
We've had to adjust our holiday calendars to allot for new holidays, and you can only miss so many days a year, or your company's not being productive, and so you have to adjust.
Now, did you take off another holiday earlier in the month?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't.
While we're on this subject, I've come around on the Christopher Columbus thing.
Full circle? You go 360 or 180?
No, 180.
Well, then that's opposite of what everybody else is saying.
No, when everybody was saying that we got to get rid of Columbus Day because he's a prick, I was, well, what are you talking about? What did he possibly do?
We got rid of all holidays that were associated with pricks. We'd have none.
Yes, but this is a special kind of prick. After hearing details about some of the things that Christopher Columbus did once he got here, like telling the natives to bring me your body weight in gold. If you don't, we'll cut off arms and legs, and then choosing one person to do that to prove that they will. And some of the other shit. Yeah, you know what? I've come around on him. He's a prick.
Yeah, he's a prick.
Here's the thing I learned in high school. I was watching a show back then called The History They Didn't Teach Us in School. And as we know, Christopher Columbus
It would be oddly ironic if you all actually watched this during high school.
No, I watched it at night after school when History Channel actually had history-based stuff on it.
They did?
Yep, back in the day. And they're talking about in school, we're all taught, well, we have Thanksgiving because Christopher Columbus was hired by the Queen to go to India for some spices. he was on a spice trail, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, apparently the Queen had a thing.
It wasn't
and
all about pepper.
Not only the Queen, but most of the rich people in her circle had a thing for opium and laudanum. And see, we were kind of they were kind of at war with Istanbul or Saudi, whatever Middle Eastern country was in power at that time. And so when
Constantinople,
when Christopher Columbus was sent around to get to India to get the spices, I realized something about Christopher Columbus. Now this ain't
He was
gonna
a drug runner.
kinda yes, but not in a good way.
Real quick.
Hey, wait a second. Hold on. Is there a good way for being a drug runner?
Go
Is
ahead,
it
Mike.
Laudum or Laudanum?
Laudanum. You gotta.
Watch
I've
Deadwood.
heard both
Watch
ways.
Deadwood.
That's why I asked.
It's the opioid that a lot of women would take when they were in pain back in the 1800s and 1700s, maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
But before
You
I
ever watched Deadwood?
yeah,
Mrs. Garrett was on it.
Mrs. Bullock, the original Mrs. Bullock.
I think of Tombstone.
Yes,
Eh,
that too.
Same period. He said period.
But as I was saying, but not in a good way. He wasn't a drug runner as in, hey, I'm going to get a percentage of the sale. He was like that broke friend we all had in high school that when we didn't want to take the risk because there was certain ways you had to acquire this stuff back then, you would send stupid ass who would gladly go take all the risk, bring it back to you for like a bud. That guy, that's who Christopher Columbus was, except for in exchange of a pinch out the bag, he got a free boat along with some criminals. So he was essentially that guy from your high school that would be always running for people, taking the risk of getting pulled over and arrested just to get a little pinch. And I bet he pinched off the bag too. And so that's who
Probably.
this guy was. And so I'm sure he wasn't too far from doing some of the shady shit that they said. So maybe we don't need a national holiday after a high school drug runner.
God damn it. I need a new ring light.
God, I don't need a damn. He can walk on water. Oh, there he goes again.
Wow. You dusted that motherfucker off.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whew. How many centuries of dust was on that?
About a good 3 inches. Speaking of 3 inches,
He's looking down lately, huh?
yep, Dicky Doo disease. We're celebrating 5 years here at Digital 410 Network.
Woo woo. So what does that
And-
have to do with 3 inches?
I don't know, it's just a bad segue.
He just took a piss. No.
During that time, we have sold some shirts. We have made available many shirts, but we don't really beat people over the head with it. I don't put up a lot of advertisements and this and that, but you know, you can go to our website and get our merch, and they're there. And we have What's in Your Head shirts, What's a Scuttlebutt shirts. We got 2A shirts. We have, Don't Tread on Me shirts, Digital 410 logo shirts. But
We have a Tackle Your Personal Best sticker.
sticker.
It's
Uh,
like
Yeah, have I got a shirt yet?
$6 or $8, I think. No, I haven't come up with
Oh
it
boy.
for a shirt yet.
I have one of the first logos I had for What's the Scuttlebutt was just simple, basic. It was a stencil, old school stencil style font. And it just said WTSP US 010718, which stands for July 7th, 2018, the day the first episode aired. And underneath that said your new favorite World War II based podcast. And it's been like that for 4 years. Celebrating the 5th year, I took that logo, I changed it to your favorite World War II based podcast because we're not new anymore. We've been around 5 years. And then I took the white star with the ring around it that you would see on Jeeps and other Army equipment
Like tanks.
and made this logo. Now, minus the star, that logo has been put on shirts and sold on shirts for the last 4 years. Never a problem. Made that
Oh, boy.
logo, went to the website, uploaded it to shirts, a towel that they offer now, and baseball caps. Now, I did try to make What's in Your Head ball caps, but because for those you watching at home live streaming, you can see the logo down in the corner of your screen, it's a square. But the area in which they would allow you to put the embroidering was a very small one. And so when I previewed it, it looked like I had a stamp of our logo in the center of a big-ass hat. It just looked dumb. But because the What's the Scuttlebutt logo is skinny and long, it looks decent across the hat. And so I put one on a camouflage hat and one in a blue hat, and I forgot to select all the other colors. So I made a second category called What's the Scuttlebutt 23 for the year, logo, hat group number 2. Okay, someone bought it, just released these like a week ago. Sold a couple of shirts. I went on Friday when I got paid and I bought a hat. Today I get an email. Now I am a community guideline violator from way back because, well, we here practice the First Amendment, and if you practice freedom of speech, you're going to ruffle feathers and get shit taken down. But I can't wrap my mind around this. Hello, you're listing WTSP 2023 logo cap group 2. Remember, it's 2 groups. One's camouflage, and then the other one's red, black, gray, all the other colors. At teespring.com/logo has been ended early due to content concerns. We understand that this may have happened inadvertently, so we have included our policies for you to review to clarify what we allow on our platform. If you believe that we remove the content as a result of a mistake, for example, that you have authorization to use this content, or as misidentification of content, you can send us a customer notice by filling out blah, 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 which I did today. If you have a written license by the third-party rights holder, please provide this. Well, I designed this logo in Photoshop. I didn't pay some service company. I designed it and paid for it. Now, the interesting thing is that is the only group they took down. You can go on my site, go to merch. The sweatshirts are still there, the same logo, the T-shirts, the hat group number 1. So I would love to get, and that's the problem. You can never hear from these companies anymore. They no longer put phone numbers. The email, you never hear back from them.
Oh, they post and ghost.
I was always kind of happy. I was like, that's cool that, you'd get the T-shirts from us. They came from Union, Kentucky, where we grew up. Turns out this company's in California like all the rest of them. But I want to hear what possibly sort of content violation is there with my logo and a star next to it. Especially considering we've been selling products through them for 5 years for the same podcast. And so I emailed them and said, hey, that's my logo. I made it in Photoshop. That's my podcast. I've been hosting this stuff with you guys for 5 years. And by the way, you have 3 other product lines on your site with that same logo that hasn't been taken down, but no one's emailed me back.
Do you think there's a chance that somehow it got mixed up since you created a group 2 with your original?
But the store is still associated to my account.
Right.
It would make sense if I accidentally logged in with like Don at yahoo.com and created it, and they said, well, wait a minute, this is the same product that Digital 410 has, but the URL says teespring.com, it's all part of the account, and it sends it to my Gmail that's associated with that account. So it'll be interesting to see.
Glitches will glitch.
I was going to say, I wonder if it's some kind of like algorithm or something like that with that particular product, when you uploaded that, it thought, whoa, wait a minute, I think this is copyrighted or something like that. You know what I mean?
Maybe because that's a U.S. Army logo?
No, because all that stuff's public, and it's a generic star. But furthermore, if you're going to say that, then you have to take down everything. I mean, the fact that the sweatshirt is still up, the T-shirt is still up, another hat group is still up. Actually, 2. There's trucker hats and that. So technically, there's 3 hat groups. There's the trucker hats, that group A, and then group 2. And so, and you can't say, and I understand, well, maybe use the copywritten font. It's a basic stencil font. It's not like some crazy cursive. It goes back to us. It's a stencil font that's available on every freaking Word document or anything you download. It's a default font. So I don't know. I'm waiting to hear back from them and see what we can sort out with that nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
So what do you got going on in your neck of woods, Mike?
Oh, my goodness.
Great balls of fire.
We went fishing this weekend.
Did you now?
Did we go fishing or did we just...
I went sunbathing.
That's what I
and
was
then
gonna
occasionally
say.
I just,
At least I caught a buzz.
I went sunbathing and I added more stress to my repetitive stress syndrome. I'm starting to get tennis elbow from doing this so much. Seriously, between that, when I go to do push-ups, it hurts real bad.
Yep.
But I told Mike,
Finger in my pinky.
I went fishing 2 days this weekend and caught 1 fish a day. And I was so annoyed. I told Mike, I said, good thing this isn't the year I started fishing, or I would have fucking quit already.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Got your good years and your bad years.
But
I mean,
it's, now granted,
looks
it's
like a
not
red-faced
summertime yet, but last spring, and we're a few weeks out of spring yet, but last spring and last summer, Carrie and I, collectively, we were having 24 to 32 fish days where we're just pulling in 12, 13, a lot of them are dinks, granted, occasional 1-2 pounders, majority, but when you go from, you're used to having a 12 fish day to having a 2 fish weekend, and you put a total of 10 hours on the water, and everybody in a boat you talk to, they're all like, I talked to one guy who got out early and caught 6 and threw
What
them
do you
back.
think? What's the theory? Hurricane Ian?
My theory on this is storm.
The main storm, the big storm.
I honestly think that the storm had a lot to do with it. I
Think there's some
that
fish
it
kills?
churned, well, fish kills, but it churned the water. It changed things up, and they're in shock. I think they're still in shock now. Not only that, but we're getting into pre-spawn, so they get really, really finicky and touchy just before they get into pre-spawn because they're very territorial.
That's
So
what you said.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to make up excuses. I mean, you know, there
Well, it's got to be something.
you should be able. I mean, you caught one. I caught fucking nothing.
Not only
Any,
I
is there
didn't
any
get a
local
bite, and
articles about it?
I usually catch more fish than pretty much everybody.
I
every
had to
time go
work
out.
for that one.
You had to work for that one.
So
You
we're
were-
coming
you
back,
were
and
the
there's a
lead.
little pocket of lily pads, right? I'm standing up on my kayak with my paddle like I'm a fucking
Paddleboarder?
paddleboarder, or more humor the guys in fucking Italy on the boats,
Gondola.
the gondola.
Yeah, the
Gondolier.
And I literally, slowly standing up, take my kayak through, I'm not lying, a foot to 3/4 of a foot of water to get back to these lily pads that are back curved around in this little creek. And I
Don's
pulled
thinking there's a
one.
chance I'm going to end up in the drink.
I pulled one out of there, and it was like, it was like fucking nothing.
I lost one. It was about the same size.
And when I
Now
came
is-
back, I saw a 3-foot gator, because this is at Cecil B. Webb, and then I saw probably a 7-foot. And now the interesting thing about this is, I guess, in order to complete our hypothesis, we really need to go back to Lakes Park, because I've been doing a lot of fishing in Cape, and Cape
Yeah.
I was blaming it on the porta-johns, which kind of makes sense. You got 17 porta-johns in one lake; it's a lot of chemicals. But I'm sure someone could do the math. Well, actually, it's be like you peeing in the pool. You know, it's
How's
diluted.
a porta? Well, that blue shit. though, is-
0.01% to
Yeah.
you know however many gallons are in the fucking
And
ground.
the fact that Cecil B. Webb is a wildlife preserve, and there ain't a porta-john within fucking 10 miles of that joint, and we're getting the same results, goes to prove that it's probably not so much the chemicals in Cape Coral. But
saying it's all fucked up.
I think a lot of it is tree debris fall, which destroyed their houses,
Yep. Yeah.
knocked them off their nest.
And as you were
it
saying, it
churned
probably
everything.
changed the chemical makeup of the water and the different layers, and you know.
And
Yeah,
so-
I mean, it you know when you have that much wind and rain and you know this
Surge.
biometric pressure and stuff like that, and it's just constant. I mean, the way that the storm moved and everything, you know, when that water's whipping and moving and you have current running through, I mean, it's gonna churn up the water. It's gonna change some things. I mean, that's why I'm so afraid to like take my boat out in the Caloosahatchee or out in you know any of those areas that I would normally fish. because there's-
Flesh-eating bacteria.
well, that
Is that still going on down there?
That's in salt water.
That was in fresh water too.
But when I looked up the story, all the stories said that a certain bacteria is what causes it, and that bacteria only lives in salt water and brackish water.
really?
Yeah,
My
and
question
the guy
is,
you're
how
talking about
much
was
of the
actually in
fresh
North
water
Fort
became
Myers.
brackish?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lived in North
I
Fort
didn't know
Myers
that.
down off of the Leeson Snatchy River, which I think is brackish. So,
It is. Yeah.
and he was
I'm
saying he
staying
was,
down by the Leeson Snatchy River.
um,
You saying don't go in the water? Don't let the
and
dogs
you can say,
wander in?
well, Don, it's wintertime. Wintertime fishing sucks. But if you go on my YouTube channel and watch my video, Best Catches from 2022, you'll see like the first 4 videos. I'm wearing a jacket and a fucking shirt because it's last January and February, and I'm still pulling fish out of there. Same
Yeah,
waterways
it-
too.
It's and not. I mean, as far as brackish and saltwater goes, we've got red tide going on still.
We got the creepy
popping up.
crud.
You know, it's you know, it's just a bad time for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that's all it boils down to is just a shitty time to be out there trying.
And red tide
But
sounds like a
we like it so
euphemism.
much that we try. So
Yeah, especially when you got new kayaks and you want to have fun and.
I have a
catch
question
stuff.
for you guys.
Being a good girl.
Yes, Daddy. I mean, huh?
What do you think? Answer individually. What is, in your opinion, the most iconic song that you can think of?
That's a rough one.
It's tough to think about.
because the three of us, we're that rare breed. When somebody says, "What you listening to?" or "What do you like to listen to?" you say everything,
Everything.
and you
Yep.
actually mean everything. Where you'll find
Yep.
most people say everything, but they're like, "Oh, I don't listen to country and '80s music." Well, that ain't fucking everything.
But step outside of the box a little bit and think of more like general, not your not like us. Like, we'll listen to anything. We listen to many different genres. We're music connoisseurs, if you will. But think about your average listener.
I don't want to think of the
What
average
would be
listener.
like the most iconic song that you can think of?
I don't know because I can't think of the average listener. I would rather give you two of my own,
Okay, do that then.
and then Gordon can go. Now, I'm going to base this strictly off of how I feel when the song comes on,
Mhm.
Okay.
my response to it. We're going to go two spectrums right now, and these songs are old by today's standards, but it doesn't matter if they come on my random playlist when I'm on Pandora or Spotify. I fucking crank up the radio, roll down the windows, and I act like I'm fucking 16, 18 again.
Sure.
First one is Bro Hymn by Pennywise,
Okay.
Strong.
which we used to play here, and we played a lot on Stan Haney when Dave was on the show. And the second one Mike will know, but I doubt any of our other listeners will know. So Eminem was in a group called the Dirty Dozen. And there's a member of that group named Proof. Now, if you guys, anybody here or listening is familiar with your Detroit rap, hip-hop wars, Eminem and ICP were never fans of one another. Some claims it was manufactured to get, like a lot
songs
of,
like Slim Anus.
like a lot of those hip hop things were manufactured just to get publicity. But so by proxy, Twisted could not be friendly with that crew. They would all get in a lot of fights back in the day. At a certain point, Proof from D12 and Twisted said, this is kind of fucking dumb. We should be able to hang out if we want to. And so Proof collaborated with a song on Twisted's album. The name of the song is How I Live. And I think like 3 weeks later, that's when he died in the drive-by. And they called the guys from Twisted because one of the last text messages on his phone because they're talking about the song. When that fucking song How I Live comes on, I get so goddamn excited. Sadly, I can't remember which Twisted album it's on. I want to say it's on...
Isn't it Green Book?
Yeah, it's on Green Book, I think. Twisted... Yeah, I think it's on Green Book. That makes sense.
Because he died in, 2004?
I think so.
And Green Book came out
Right around that time.
sometime around 03, 04, like the end of 03 maybe.
But yeah, that song just gets me so excited every time it comes on.
Okay.
Gordon?
This may age me. My first one that I really like to jam is Faith No More's Last Cup of Sorrow. Very strong song.
Good tune.
And I really think that album being called, literally the name was Album of the Year, was probably their best album to date. You almost can't beat Mike Patton's vocal range. People don't realize how strong he is. I think he's 6+ octaves.
Yeah, I worked with a guy for a short period of time not too long ago. He was a huge, not only Faith No More fan, but Mr.
Bungle.
Mr. Bungle.
He's also singing opera tunes in South America, too.
That doesn't surprise me.
Wow.
Guy is crazier than a shithouse rat.
Mm-hmm.
He really is, but he's a hell of an artist. The second one, probably to no surprise, was going to be Clutch.
Boom, 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 boom,
Ba-da-da-da. Yes, actually, or the
Dog Swinger.
yes, anything off of Clutch's second release, and I
Space
could jam
Grass.
through. Yes, Space Grass is a good one, and then Party Boat. I can't believe I can't get the song name right now.
I would
but,
love to play it, but we'll just get dinged for copyright.
I like the what was it? Big News.
That's it. Big
One and
News.
two.
That is the name of the
There's-
song. Big News
there's,
1 and 2.
Big News 1.
We
and
got big news.
2.
The party boat is here.
Yep.
The band is kicking.
And we
Yes,
have lots of
Clutch is probably my all-time favorite band. I actually saw them a couple of years ago at the Brooklyn Bowl. You want to talk about a very cool venue?
I think they were my
think-
second concert. The first one was Pigface with Evil Mothers, and then I
Yep,
think
that was a good
Clutch.
one of the most violent pits I've ever been in was Clutch when they played Binge and Purge. And basically the lyrics go, "Come on, motherfucker, let's throw down." But when I saw them at Brooklyn Bowl, it's literally a bowling alley / concert venue.
Uh-huh.
And I was on the second floor. We bought the bougier seats, get away from the pit, because, we're getting old. I was right in front of the fucking monitors, and I couldn't hear for 3 goddamn days.
Yep.
Zach Wilde opened with Zach Sabbath.
Mm.
So it was a good goddamn show. And Katina goes, "Jesus Christ, looked like you were singing every word of every song." I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." Monster, and I'll throw a third one in there. Monster Magnet's Nagasonic Teenage Warhead. Which, fun fact, it's anybody who watched Deadpool. There is that young girl. Her name was Nagasonic Teenage Warhead, and that was actually a nod to the song by Monster Magnet.
I just figured it was based off of a comic book character.
Nope, not her.
Interesting.
So, very,
So
very cool.
I asked that same question. My dad is also a music snob, if you will. Thinking more of like in a general pop, type of
Kinda
genre
like
of music.
Like Run to the Hills by Iron
Runs
Maiden. Or,
to the
Yeah, I
hill.
mean things. When I think of an iconic song,
Girls, Girls,
think
Girls
of-
by Motley Crue.
Yeah, I think of something where
I
you
mean,
name
Girls by
the
Beastie
song,
Boys.
or you play 5 seconds of it. Anybody off the street is going to know what that song is.
Can't
Or
be
like
no
the
geek on
TikTok
street.
video, the guy plays the first note and you can figure out the song.
Yeah, I can get pretty much all those.
So somebody put an algorithm together
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
into a computer.
That's usually where algorithms go.
Yep. And specified, pulled all this information from like MTV, VH1, how many plays, how many hits, this, that, and the other. And they came up with the top 50
Oh boy.
most iconic songs of all time.
Do you have the top 10?
Yes. Based on science.
Science.
Science?
Drop science like Galileo dropped the orange.
So starting with number 10,
Check it over here, baby. Pop it all. Fast, give me a feel the beat.
Sweet
Mm,
Child
drop.
of Mine by Guns N' Roses.
I
By the
guess I
way-
could see that. That was played in every 7th grade dance across the fucking plant when that song was out.
Child of Mine. And Dixon just now released a Guns N' Roses flannel.
Number 9,
Number 9.
God Save the Queen by Sex Pistols.
Yes.
Number 8, I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones.
That makes sense.
7, Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan.
Yeah, okay.
6, Hey Jude by the Beatles.
Makes sense.
5, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
That got a
4.
real boost when Wayne's World came out.
Yeah. 4, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson.
At least it ain't a pretty young thing.
Number 3, One by U2.
See, when I hear one, I think Metallica.
I think
but-
Metallica.
So do I.
Their sellout album.
Number 2, Imagine by John Lennon.
Okay.
Can either of you guess what number 1 is?
I would say it's definitely not Hey Bungalow Bill.
Is it Kiss Me Where It
Lucy in
Smells
the Sky
Funny
with
by the
Diamonds?
Bloodhound Gang?
Is it what?
Kiss Me Where It Smells Funny by the Bloodhound Gang?
No.
How about the lap dance? It's always better when it's strippers crying.
She said, I can make all your dreams come true. I said, even one where Jesus Christ, a Jack and Hammer, Mickey Mouse, and a doo-doo hole, the lawn dart, wide Garth Brooks gives birth to something resembling a cheddar cheese log with almonds on Santa Claus's tummy tom. Well, she smiled. Had about as many teeth as a jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, it's a good song too.
The number one song,
Number one,
according the number one most iconic song of all time,
according to science.
Science? Science, you know, always argues with each other, right?
Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Would make sense.
Number one most
Of all
iconic song
time?
of all time.
It is the song that removed Hairband from the fucking list.
Yeah, but it was also the interesting thing about that time though is Nirvana. That song blew up, but it was still kind of niche because that was right around the time I was in middle school.
Mhm.
At least in Grove City, Ohio at the time, Nirvana didn't really get blow up God status until, ironically, he killed himself. It was after he killed himself, the very next week, all the chicks who never listened to Nirvana in the fucking day in their life had all the
Yep.
T-shirts on with Kurt Cobain and, oh, Kurt killed
He
himself. It's like,
martyred himself.
it's like, bitch, last week you were making fun of us for fucking wearing a Nirvana Bleach T-shirt.
Come on, you know Courtney Love killed him. Wasn't that one of the theories?
So I bring that up because
No.
I haven't heard now all of these songs that are on this list
Mm-hmm.
do not break the 2000s.
It's because most of
Have-
the songs in the 2000s suck.
Exactly. So what my thought process on that today was, there isn't really a song in the last 25 years that's really been like, wow, that iconic song of like, our generation or anything like that. It's always like, Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit came out in 91, but all these, like most of these songs on this list are 60s, 70s, and 80s songs.
I have a hypothesis if you want it.
Okay.
You said that this list was built by science,
Yes.
taking all forms of data that would represent the desire of a person to hear that song, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these songs, as you pointed out, came out 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So when science takes these numbers, they're looking at Billboard top hits, how many albums sold in the music store from when there were records, tapes, CDs. When all those, then when that generation and who were in their 30s and their early 2000s, then all that shit got digitized. Then they're buying it on iTunes, and then the newer songs got very little radio play. They never saw a record store other than Walmart, and so they're losing out. The playing field isn't level for the new songs because they don't have radio sales, CD sales, tape combined with tape deck sales, combined with record sales, combined with requests on radio stations and MTV, because MTV pretty much doesn't exist. Most top 40 radio stations only play songs that are trending on TikTok now. That's the easiest fucking program directing job in the world. You just go on TikTok or Google top songs on TikTok, and that's what you play in your fucking top 40 radio station. And so I think the reason for that is science trying to compile data has a limited amount of data when the new songs are based off of fucking iTunes sales and YouTube views, pretty much, and Spotify.
Well, yeah, and I'm
Right.
going to
Yeah,
add to
that makes sense.
I'm going to add to that is even if people will listen to songs on Spotify and that, you can't really compare to the previous math in the old format of getting music because it just skews everything way out.
Well, not only that, but while that new fucking shit dick new age artist that your kids are listening to get to play, Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan are still getting plays from our generation who don't like the new music, and so they're continuously. And so those groups who got all that backlog of number based off the old media, they're still getting the new hits too because our generation still listens to them.
It's still growing.
And so for
right.
every 4 downloads, fucking new guy Jimmy gets, there's at least 2 for the old group or more, because those young kids. It's funny. Back when I was married, for a short period of time, I had a brother-in-law, and right around the time he turned 13 or 14. And he came to me and said, "Do you know who the Doors are?
No way.
Do you know who Led Zeppelin is?" And I realized something. When the Jewish community turned 13 or 14, they have a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, depending on the sexual identification of the child. You know what the Goyim has for young boys? You know when the Goyim, the boys turn 13 or 14? I don't know if it's this way now,
The
but
Led Zeppelin album.
they discovered Led Zeppelin, They discovered the Doors. They discovered black lights and lava lamps. And
At least back then. I don't know what they're discovering now.
now it's LED lights affixed to the back of their fucking TV, but they're still discovering now it's the Doors, Nirvana, Metallica, all that quote unquote old shit. But
Yeah.
it just seems funny. No matter where you live,
You don't think any of it's 90s stuff that they consider old shit?
they do. But it seemed for like at least 20 years, no matter where someone lived, as soon as that boy turned 13 or 14, he was discovering those things: blacklight posters, lava lamps, the Doors, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and the Beatles, and going down that whole rabbit
And
hole.
parents are thinking, you
Yeah.
kid, you think you're doing something new, but I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's what brought up that whole question is like the younger generation doesn't have those. There's like I can't think of a single song that's come out in the last 20 years that has
Not
that
auto-tune?
status. You know, well, not auto-tune, but that just has that like godlike status of like this is the song.
If I had to pick something out of the last 3 or 4 years that has a potential,
Yeah.
which is very interesting because, in my opinion, it's the best live album that has been recorded in years. And the irony of that is it was recorded at Red Rock in the middle of a fucking snowstorm, and so the instruments are going out of tune halfway through each song.
Right.
But it's such a fantastic album, and I don't want to beat this guy over the head to death on this podcast. I've been mentioning him a lot, but Zach Bryan's album, All My Homies Hate Ticketmaster, you can listen to it on Pandora and Spotify. Now the rub is there's two Spotifys. You have the computer version of Spotify, and then the web version on your phone. What's the difference, you ask? I'll tell you. You listen to Spotify through your headphones on your desktop computer at work, you can listen to the album and the songs in their entirety in sequential order. On the app on your phone, unless you pay for premium, that shit's on random. There's nothing you can do about it. And when you're listening to a live album where he's introing the next song at the end of the previous song and then it fucking skips, how you get around that is go to Pandora, search All My Homies Hate Ticketmaster, and hit play. They'll make you watch one fucking a minute-long ad, and you'll get 30 minutes of that song in sequential order, and then you can play the ad again and then pick up where you left off and listen to the whole album. But I think that one really has potential for being kind of like this young kid's generation of Live at the Budokan
Yeah.
or the Talking Heads Stop Making Sense, which was a great live album. That's another good topic. Maybe people could send us emails or messages on Facebook. Email us at info@d-410.com or send us a message to Facebook or our Instagram pages. What is your all-time favorite live album? Do you have one, Mike?
Ooh. I may have to get back to you on that. I do really like. I see when it comes to music for me, you know, because of being a musician and stuff like that, and being into music my entire life, I've got such, you know, all these
It's
different
overwhelming,
ideas
right?
that come. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
overwhelming. All these different ideas that come to my head, like I like this one electronic duo called Justice. They did a live album in Mexico or something like that I thought was pretty cool. I like Peter Frampton Comes Alive.
Mhm.
That's a great generational album that, you know, Do You Feel Like We Do? It's like you only hear the live version of that song.
Or another one you only hear the live version of nowadays, Tom Petty's It's Alright If You Love Me. It's alright if you
Oh.
don't. No use in saying I'm running away, honey. I don't care if you don't. Breakdown. That one, they play the live version of
Yeah.
that, and the audience is singing.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about live albums is you get to hear the free-flowing version of that song. You've heard the song so many times, and now you get to hear it in its actual real form because a lot of times songs are condensed for time on albums too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
if it's a
and-
jam band format, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
Jam
you
out.
get to hear that like off the cuff type of like the guys are just up there and they're just jamming.
Mm-hmm.
They're hanging out, they're having a good time, they're feeling the music, and they're just playing the show for the people, the crowd.
At the
And
end of the
that's-
Zach Ryan song, he's introducing all the people, the wall of sound. He's playing banjo player, mandolin, all the people who help fill that out in the live atmosphere. Because most of his LP songs are just acoustic and maybe a acoustic bass, but usually just one or two instruments.
Yeah.
and he finishes the concert off with All Night Revival. And that's a 3-minute song. The live version is 11 minutes long because he's introducing each person in the band, and they all play like a 30-second, 45-second solo from the banjo to the drums, and so it's literally an 11-minute fucking song, but it doesn't feel like it's such a great song. But just that live format, there's just nothing compares to it.
Yeah, I mean, actually being there would be something that I think would be a step above, but
Depends on the date and the weather.
yeah, but listening to something like that and just being able to I don't know who came up with that idea to record live albums and put them out there, and
It makes sense because all the shit's running through a mixing board anyhow, so all you gotta do is hook the recorder to the mixing board through the monitor out.
and probably some executive or something like that was like, oh, we can make money off of this, and so they decided to do it. But it was such a great idea that you feel
Actually,
a lot more of the music than you do when you're just listening to
I think it's backwards. I think it goes the other way. I think
so?
because of the way music started and right around the time recording equipment proliferated, we were in a big band era. And it's easier to mic an entire orchestra with 3 microphones than it is back then to record them track by track. So I have a feeling most early recordings were probably in a live, the whole band's in one room, let's mic them. Obviously not in front of a loud crowd. Probably some of them were. But compared to nowadays where, okay, we're going to record the drum track first, or you all play simultaneously, we'll record them, and then we'll go back and modify it. But,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think about something like that, where it's like old school, even like you were saying, the big band era, like 40s and 50s and whatnot, and even earlier than that. They probably did a lot more live recording in, like a
orchestra pit.
Little orchestra pit, or even a little bar or something like that. Just all playing together.
If you are a guitar aficionado or you just love the sound of a guitar, speaking of 30s and 40s, there's a famous song that's been covered by everybody in the big band days and even modern days. It's called It's Been a Long, Long Time. Kiss me once, kiss me twice, kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. There's a version of that where Bing Crosby and Les Paul. Bing Crosby sings like the first verse and the chorus, and then the second verse, basically Les Paul is just playing it on his guitar, damn near like a solo. It's such a beautiful version of that song. You can find that on YouTube. So if you like Les Paul, or you actually like guitar playing as an art in and of itself, just nice. And plus it's back in the day, so it's kind of raw. There's not a bunch of mixing pedals and all that. It's just him on a early, electric guitar just playing it. And it's a fantastic song.
Yeah.
I got to get something off my chest, so we're going to have all this happy feelings. We're going to bring it down.
I got something I got off my chest, too.
I got about 100 pounds to get off of my chest. But,
we've asked the question, is it worth cutting the cord? Get rid of your cable service. Or at the end of the day, once you subscribe to all 38,333 fucking streaming services, are you paying more, if not the same? Well, I think nowadays we can all admit that the inflation is fucking real. And every time dude, it's so insane that it seems like more of our money now goes to supplemental trips to the grocery store than anything else. You buy your groceries, and through the week you run out of soda, you run out of this, you gotta. And Carrie and I, when it comes to our TV, we watch. I set my DVR to record primarily stuff off of what I still call the it's Motor Trend Network. I still call it Velocity, but Motor Trend Network.
Yeah.
Carrie watches reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens at night, and then we primarily watch shit off of YouTube or Netflix.
Sure.
And so I got to looking at my bill. I said, well, let's see how much I would save if I get rid of just my TV. Because most of your internet bill is based off of your internet now. Most of not your internet bill. Most of your bundled services through your provider is based off your internet. TV is usually less, unless you have like fucking Red Zone and all the expansions. So I get the digging, which, by the way, is not easy. I actually, luckily, had sent a screenshot to Carrie a week ago when I discovered this, because I spent 20 minutes trying to pull this information up from Comcast's website tonight, and peculiarly enough, I couldn't find it. But I had screenshots from last week. So, a little breakdown of my cable bill. I'm going to put it out there, because chances are yours is the same. First and foremost, if you guys haven't looked at your cable bill and you have automatic withdrawal, you may want to check just to see what you're doing, because Comcast, much like everybody else, has switched to the data-driven plan, meaning it's no longer a flat rate. They're like, fuck it, everybody's uploading shit to the cloud, downloading shit to the cloud, streaming all their services. We're losing money on TV, so we're going to make it up. We're going to be like cell phone plans and charge them based on data usage.
Or they charge you up to a certain point of data usage and then hit you past that.
Yeah, well, like a cell phone plan. You pay X amount, and then once you go over this, we're going to hit you with service fees. Service fees not included. My TV service. Just TV service. $68.60. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that's lower than I thought. I thought it'd be at least 100.
That's what I thought. I'm like, well, is it worth canceling my TV? You know, hypothetically, if we're looking at $8 to $9 a month per streaming services, I sign up for fucking 6.5 of them. I'm paying what I'm paying for my cable now.
Yeah, but you may actually get more use out of it.
Internet, $102. Okay. So, Don, you got a $162 cable bill. What are you complaining about? I'm not done. DVR number 1, $10 a month. Okay, that's normal.
Oh, you didn't buy them outright.
That's normal standard operating protocol. TV number 2, $10 a month. Cable modem, $15 a month. Okay, Don, you're paying $205.82. I'm not fucking done. So you say, well, okay, I'm looking at my TV, I'm looking at my internet, I'm looking at my DVRs, 2 of them, plus my cable modem. It's $205.82. Where's the rest of this money on my bill coming from? Because that ain't my cable bill. My cable bill is $262.27 a month. So where's the extra money coming from, you ask? You fucking watching porn? Or are you renting movies? No. Here's what you guys probably don't ever find.
Regulatory fees.
You have to fucking dig. You got to get out your shovel. So, we're in this hypothesis land. We're keeping the cable internet because we need it for podcasting, and I do get 3 to 500 megs down. I've got fast internet, so it's worth 100 megs. Let's look at the TV in question. What would I save if I got rid of the TV service at $68.62? Well, we know I'd get rid of my 2 DVRs. Okay, so that's so we're going to, you know, so let's round that up to like $110 a month. Here's what else I would save. Gordon, you're a big fan of regional sports, aren't you? How about you, Mike? You got Comcast? You paying for television with Comcast?
No.
Well, for those of you listening,
I cut the cord.
Well, you know, because I watch so much regional sports around here. Mm-hmm. Not at fucking all. How much do you think I'm being charged in regional sports fees a month, Gordon?
About $20.
Mike?
Yeah, 20, 25.
$15.35.
Okay.
Not a big
I'll round
deal.
it up.
We're a little heavy-handed, but you know,
For
still
you know
15
all the
bucks,
football games
Round
I
it up to
watch,
$5.
Yeah, all the
Regional,
all the
you know,
amazing,
the
wonderful
fucking high
world
school
They
of
had
sport-
bass fishing on there.
Wonderful world of sports that you watch.
so $15. Broadcast TV fee. How much do you think I gotta pay for the privilege to watch Wink News on a fucking Wednesday?
Well, that's probably between $7 and $10 a month,
Mike?
10.
$20.65.
which is amazing because it's free over the air.
So I'm paying for TV service at $68.62. I'm paying $20.65 to watch TV, as Gordon just eloquently said I could get for free by putting a fucking paperclip in the back of my TV and switching over to antenna and getting it in HD. $15.35 to watch all the fantastic regional sports. But that's not it. I'm not done. TV regulatory cost recovery fee. So apparently it's my job to pay for recovery fees for Comcast because they're poor and they didn't buy out NBC and one of the richest fucking companies in the country or fucking planet. How much do you think I'm paying a month in recovery fees?
$7.50 ish.
Mike?
$7.51.
No, a very fair 10 cents a month. Fine, whatever. What about
Nickel
local?
and diming you.
What about local TV communication service tax?
Probably another couple of bucks a month.
$5.
$7.69 for
There's
TV
5 plus my
local
couples there.
communication. Now, what do you think I'm paying for the TV state communication service tax?
$12.65.
$11.99.
$10.38. Now, for all you quick math people, that's right. On a service that costs me $62 a month, I am paying $56.45 in sales and tax fees. How is the sales and service fees on a product make up 93% of the fucking price? I'm literally paying $7 less for the service fees and the taxes than I am for the fucking service they're providing me. How does that fucking work?
Sounds like somebody's going to cut the cord.
So
Although
the
some of
short
those fees
answer
will
is if I
still
get
be
rid of
on
my
it.
TV, get rid of the cable boxes, let's say the local communication service fee is still there at $7. We can assume that the regional sports fee will go away. We will assume that the broadcast fucking fee will go away. And chances are the other ones. So I could loosely save $115 a month just by getting rid of the TV service.
But if you were to get Hulu Live, that's $75 a month.
I wouldn't pay for it. Well,
You get all the local stuff. You get a
YouTube TV.
My
I got a
problem
Fire
with
Stick.
streaming.
I got Netflix, I got YouTube, and I got
Ah,
fucking in here. I got Roku TV. Sariana's room's got Roku TV.
There you go.
We pay for YouTube TV, Netflix. I bundle the Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN thing.
Yeah, that's worth the 70-something bucks a month.
I have a friend who has been service jumping between all these new upstart internet-based cable companies. That you can call them that kind of. You pay $70 a month and you get all these packages. They're like these little upstart, some of them are hardcore conservative groups. Those cats. But yeah, they keep jumping from those to them because what they did for a while, which is kind of cool, but I don't know what the fees were. They were DirecTV users, but instead of having their service cut out every summer when it rains, DirecTV now offers their full service line through streaming. So you don't have to have the satellite dish anymore. The satellite dish will probably go the way of the dodo, except for the people who live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
And
Unless they need that for their internet.
yeah. And so
I have the Hulu Plus with ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. I have
You don't-
Amazon Prime streaming service.
who's the sports fanatic in your house that you'd want ESPN?
It comes with the package. We were hoping we could watch Golden Knights games, but they decided to black them out too locally. The first 3 seasons, we were fine. After that, it was go fuck yourself.
That's what annoyed me because we actually did pay for the regional sports team channel in Pennsylvania, so we could watch all their regional baseball shit. But the night the
And
Penguins
shit
came
got
on,
locked
they
out, didn't
shut that shit off.
Now you got to find it out. You got to find it out of division.
Nice. Got to go on the internet, but yeah.
And so on Amazon Prime, we do have. We currently have AMC Plus, which will probably dump here soon. We have Paramount Plus. We did have Stars. We don't have that right now. I think that's kind of it. Then we also have HBO Max and Netflix. So be quite honest, we had to up our internet service. We were probably dead even, if not slightly more than we were. But we
Do you
use
feel you're
every bit of
getting
internet.
more?
Yeah, the
bang
only
for your buck?
problem is keeping up with your shows and when they're airing, because when we had Dish, at least they would all populate into one spot on the DVR.
Yeah.
Now, Hulu has a DVR feature, which is fine, but then you got to say, okay, what network is this on? Oh, we got to go to this app. What network is this on? Like, we just
We'd have
realized we
to-
missed 2 episodes of 1923 we caught up on this weekend, but that's fine. Then you could go in, you could catch up, do a quick binge, and you're done.
I
That's
wonder.
through Hulu. That's through Hulu Live.
1923?
No. The DVR feature.
Yes, it is through Hulu Live.
I wonder.
You have to pay for that.
It's under My Stuff.
Yeah.
And you just record it. You can set it up, and it's free. The storage is free. So
I wouldn't be surprised if this is in the making. I haven't heard anything. I'm just pulling this out of my
it's
ass.
owned by Disney, by the way.
That could be a brand if they're still around. probably already long dead. That could have possibly been a brand saver for fucking TiVo, to make a device that would, you could log in all your streaming apps and then it would fucking DVR them. That would have been a brand saver. I'm sure someone will come out with something, but it's a shame TiVo didn't come up with that before they went complete, because they were the original DVR, and then they got cut out by all the cable companies.
Now, one thing I suggest on, because I didn't fall for the scam of renting the equipment, I bought, like when I had Dish, I bought out the DVRs. I bought my surfboard, my Wi-Fi router.
The only problem with that, I can understand buying the cable equipment if it's an option. The reason I rent the
I bought a third party. I didn't. I went down to Best Buy and bought it.
I know, but what I'm saying is, I get that for the cable equipment, but when it comes to your modem, I'd rather pay the $15 a month, because as their service increases and the data speeds increases, they will send you the equipment to accommodate those new speeds, opposed to, oh shit, I gotta go out and buy a new. I just got the service. I just happened to buy the surfboard, and they're right in the middle of transition, and now I got to go out and buy a new piece of equipment that'll support 300 megs down or whatever.
And mine does. And am I going to get even faster? Hey, if it's 3-4 years from now, I'm still going to save money, because the cost of $10 a month that you never get back, is just throwing it in a hole.
If you guys are parents and you're listening to this, and you got kids coming to age where their whole existence revolves around, which nowadays could be 3, but if you're parents with kids who have internet addiction issues, where it becomes a fight, there's no reason to fight over a controller. There's no reason to go unplug a fucking Xbox or take a TV controller, pull out your phone. Another reason to have your modem through Xfinity and pay that fucking $15 a month. Go to my Xfinity app, go to connected devices, Xbox pause, Chromebook pause, fucking
Words
Alexa
of Negan,
pause.
I'm going to shut that shit down.
You shut it fucking down, and you don't have to go to a computer. You just pull out your phone, and then you can set for half hour till I say, and you can be at fucking work. You can be on the road. Anywhere you have internet connection, you can control the devices connected to so you're not physically fighting over the controller. I'm just going to take the power brick, and they have to worry about fucking untwisting all that shit. No, just kill the internet to it. And there's nothing they can do unless you're dumb enough to give them the password to your fucking Xfinity account. Then that shit's on you. There's nothing they can do to get around it. Cell phone's different. If they're smart enough, they just disable the Wi-Fi and use their fucking data plan. But cell phone, tablets, video game consoles, laptops, PCs, unless,
Or TVs.
once again, unless, unbeknownst to you, they got a relationship going on with the neighbor and got their fucking Wi-Fi code so they can jump on their shit. But yeah, that's an easy way to lock your stuff down when you need to.
Can we talk about the AI in season 2 of DMZ?
AI? Sure, we can talk a little video game
Holy
nerd talking.
I was talking to a guy I was playing yesterday, and I did get through all the White Lotus except for one.
Well, there's 2 tiers now.
Well, yeah, the first round except for one. I just only played for a couple hours. But Oliver, hush! It's wind. Sorry about that.
No, you're not.
Just how aggressive the AI is now. And this guy I talked to goes, "Yeah, I was told that they were going to nerf it. I thought they were going to nerf the AI." I was like, "Yeah, you were trolled, bud." So,
I never heard that. Everybody else is
I
telling
never
me
heard that
from
either.
Jump, it was going to be worse.
Don smoking on a robot dick.
Yep.
So,
But yeah, it's
but
definitely harder.
I can't believe how aggressive they are now.
It's almost next to impossible to try to run that game on your own now.
What do you think of the new map?
Be honest with you, I haven't played it a whole hell of a lot. I played it once or twice. Because most of those fraction missions you still have to do on El Mazrah. And
Right.
to me, and the game is fun, but if you're not doing those fraction missions, you're just basically running in circles. So I like to do those missions. I was in a room, the door opened, turned around, no one was there. The AI was fucking commando crawling across the floor, so I wouldn't shoot him when he opened the door. I have been sniped from across the map by them. They've pretty much made it next impossible to go lone wolf on it.
You have to get a team, and then I think out of the 5-6 matches I played, only 2 of them with people who wanted to play and work together.
Yeah.
So
And the other thing is, like, if you camp an area too long, they'll just keep sending resupply helicopters nonstop with those grenade throwing fucks. They'll just keep coming and coming. They definitely made it harder and more entertaining, to say the least. But yeah, when you're getting sniped from across the map and you just see a glimmer, that's not a fucking operator. That's goddamn AI now.
Well, and I was exfilling yesterday on the new map, and then right before the helicopter got there, they paratrooped in a bunch of AI.
Mm-hmm. And I guess one of the things they did, which affects Warzone more than DMZ, is they fixed the glitch where I guess people would spawn in at the end or get up on a tower or a high point, and they would parachute and land on the top or the outside of the helicopter as it was taking off. Now they make it when you touch a propeller, it's just instant kill, as it should be.
As it should be.
So they got rid of that as well.
Pink mist. Done.
Yep.
That's good, because that was pretty bad. That was pretty freaking bad. Now, I did have an attack helicopter come in on new map. As soon as it got there, it glitched real bad for me and my teammate. It just lagged, and we couldn't fucking move.
If you, for some reason, have a wild hair up your ass and you want to go for the weapons crate where you got to kill the Juggernaut, load a shield, a deployable shield, and a drill charge. The last time I beat him, I deployed a shield because I was picking up somebody, and then he came around and he walked into the shield and he just froze. And we just had to shot him from the back and threw drill charges on him. Like, and once the drill charge blew up, the shield blew up, and then he turned around and started walking back towards us. But at that point, we just shot him 2 more times in the head. He fucking died.
Nice. Now, I did notice I had a shitload of contraband weapons when I got back in, including the ball sack.
Do you leave your contraband back home?
Not on purpose, no.
Well,
when I started back up, there was a bunch of contraband.
Well, I was gonna say what I do is, like, when I exfil, I always just hit X on my secondary to leave it back, so that if I lose, I always have at least 5 or 6 contraband guns to choose from.
There you go.
We haven't done one of these in a while.
And now for the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
So it seems as though Ohio is no longer for lovers. It is now my...
West Virginia's for lovers. Ohio is first in flight. Then again, I guess your joke wouldn't land.
Ba-doom-doom.
And this has been the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
Well, I could have just been doing like, you're confusing that with West Virginia, stupid. But yeah, his whole thing.
It was good. It was good, but they actually hauled that thing down to North Carolina. Thus, they got the first in aviation.
Yeah, I know, but it says first in flight on their license plates.
Yeah, and then they had the plane backwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Silly kids.
You lived in Ohio too?
North Carolina.
No, we're talking about the Ohio license plate. Had the Kitty Hawk
plane
on
backward. They had it hauling a banner that said first in flight or first in aviation, whatever, birthplace of
But
aviation.
they basically had the banner off of what would have been the nose of the plane, because it had the dual things up front, and the 18-year-old who designed the license plate in Photoshop just thought that was the back.
Oh, I thought you were
That's where
talking
the
about North
elevators
Carolina
are
because
belonging, and it's in the
North
back.
Carolina played safe first in flight.
Yes. It's birthplace of aviation.
There you
Doot.
Blah.
Boom, boom, boom. So, Cape Coral High School made national news today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
New York
shithole?
Post. Not even like a...
Was it good news or bad news?
It's never good news.
go. When it's coming out of Cape Coral High School?
ChatGPT cheating scandal erupts inside elite program at Florida high school.
Yep.
Not surprised. Students at a Florida high school elite academic program that has been accused of using ChatGPT and artificial intelligence to write their essays, according to a report. The head of Cape Coral High School's prestigious international, I'm too dumb to fucking pronounce that word program, otherwise known as IB. It's like BACCALA Baccalaureate, the International Baccalaureate Program, otherwise known as IB, flagged the suspected misconduct to their staff in a flurry of internal emails that we later obtained over here at NBC. There has been some IB papers that are questionable in the few ways, the staffer wrote. And the staffer wrote this month in one of the messages, including being very different style of writing from previous submitted papers. And the big problem is this prestigious group is basically kind of like National Honor Society, maybe a little step higher. It's basically a way to get cats business level scholarships and other high-end college scholarships, and now these kids are quote-unquote cheating. Before I get into my thoughts on that, I was explaining to my daughter this morning that, hey, your high school made the news again. And she's like, well, how did they get caught? I'm like, well, writing's just a form of communication.
Well, the interesting thing about chat
GPT.
program, GT, is it'll write it differently every time.
Well, hold on. She said, well, how did they get caught? I'm like, the same way me and Mom tried to talk to you about how you get caught. It's called pattern of behavior, pattern of speech. When you bring us homework that you rush to get done so you can play Xbox, and we read the first line, and we say, you didn't write this. And you get all offended saying, well, what do you mean? Yes, I did. I'm like, no, because in that first line, there's 2 words that you have no idea what they mean, and you use them in the appropriate way.
So at that point, do you just look at that and say, hey, what is this? What's the definition of this word?
Then a fight erupts and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
like, basically, when you're a teacher who has been getting papers from a student for 6 months, plus talking to them, communicating, and then you read this paper that has words that they've never used, wouldn't you know how to spell them, let alone what they meant, and use them properly, it's easy to determine.
Yeah, it's not in the pattern of their speech or anything else.
But as me and my boss were discussing this today, because he gives speeches on Chat GPT, he said, well, I don't consider this cheating. And I said, you're right. These are kids who are studying to go off to do prestigious, most likely data-driven work at high-end colleges. Chat GPT is going to be the new tool. So basically, these kids are getting a head start on using this tool to perform mundane tasks, which is what it's meant to be used for. So is it cheating, or them just getting a head start on learning a tool that everybody's going to be using in the future?
They're going to basically look at it as data entry at that point.
Yeah. But it's going to happen more and more.
Yep.
It's just funny that it started here.
Isn't it version 3 that's out, or version 2.5, or version 4, or whatever? It's been out for a while.
I was listening to a interview somewhere a long time ago, about a year or 2 ago, and there was a person who worked either as a politician or knew something about politicians, and he was saying that back in the day when email first came around, how these politicians and lawyers and well-to-do cats would get away with cheating on their spouse is they would create an email address, give that email address using a password to their cohort, and instead of sending out emails, they would compose emails and save them to the drafts folder. So there's no paper trail because they never left the server. The other person would log in, same username and password, go to the drafts folder, read it, delete what was there, write their response, and they would communicate through an email that never left the server. Therefore, there was never any paper trail. Your kids are doing the same thing. This is how they're chatting in class. They're not using chat rooms. They're not using WhatsApp app. They're not using because all that shit's locked down by the school. How they're chatting is they're going into Google Drive. They're creating a document. They're sharing it with the people they want to talk to. And they are basically using Google Docs as a old school chat window. Because they just hit refresh every once in a while and then the new paragraph pops up. And I guarantee you, if you're a parent, go look at your kid's Chromebook, go to their Google Docs, and you'll see documents that are 300 pages long of just random bullshit. And that's the modern way of communicating in class and cheating, by the way, when they're doing schoolwork. Once again, is it cheating or is it using the tools? Yeah. They're literally giving answers and passing notes. And the teacher is not included. Hypothetically, I bet if you looked, the teacher has user access to any Google Doc made in that Google Classroom. But if they don't know what the name of the document is, they have a hard time searching for it. But yeah, that's how your kids are cheating in class, is sharing Google Docs and updating it in real time.
The new school way of passing notes.
Yep.
Pretty much.
New school way, doing the shit we all did.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
You listen? Are you listening? Is it me, or do I hear the drum beats of war getting a little faster and a little louder?
Yeah.
And that's scary. I hope not. I mean, everybody's like, yeah, it's funny. You talk to people and they're like, oh, they won't let it happen. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, have you ever studied history? Because when's the last time that there's been an everlasting peace?
Can we get on our tinfoil top hats? Which, by the way, I saw a great TikTok video of
Sure.
tinfoil hat wearers competing on who has a nicer hat, and the last one made a literally like a what appeared to be a beaver skin top hat strictly out of tinfoil.
I can tell you think he said that to me.
Nice.
Yeah, and
What's your tinfoil?
This
the
just-
guy, the one guy was like, "Oh, I made Viking horns," and this guy comes out with a fucking top hat on, like, "Hello."
it's fucking
Tip,
fantastic.
chip, Tyrio.
Yeah, 'cause the first guy just had to twist one, and he saw the guy with the Viking hat. He's like, I gotta step up my game, and then the guy came out with a fucking top hat, like, "What's up, fool?" But
Next, there's gonna be a Stetson.
this literally just occurred to me.
Literally.
Why would how? Okay, first and foremost, we got a fucking puppet literally as a president.
Hey, I'll
But-
give him balls. He took that 10-hour train ride each way in and out of Ukraine.
Yeah, he did. Not that he had a choice, better than getting shot down.
He was told by the Secret Service, don't fucking do it. He did it.
Somebody could have told him he was on his way to fucking Disneyland. He don't know where he is half
Yeah,
the time.
that's true. When do I get to see Mickey Mouse?
But let's go back.
like
Where's
our new-
Ukraine? Shit.
Let's go back a few years. Remember when Hillary Clinton and all of them were trying to push us to join the EU's gun policies?
Yeah,
You had all the talk of the one world government.
Yep.
New World.
Well,
Order.
that goes back to Bush Sr. with the New World Order.
I
too.
know, but the progressives and Hillary and them were pushing that back during Obama's day, and now who's basically not Hillary, but the same party. They always say that war is the reset. So I don't know. Maybe this is
Well, here's the way I look at it. I read a story today that they're trying to get the private ammunition manufacturers in the United States to start ramping up. And the reply, one person said, is how can they ramp up? They're already running 7 days a week, 24 hours a
yeah.
day. And
Maybe
it takes
Canada
2
should open a
years of
fucking plant.
design. It takes 2 years of design just to design a place, not necessarily build it.
No.
So that's not going to happen. I think if something does happen and shit starts popping off, our lead time issues, our supply chain issues, which are fucked now, are going to get far, far worse.
Oh, it's gonna be hardcore. I mean, even sadly as I want to say, even the likelihood that nothing happens here, I'm thinking if shit does pop off, we're gonna see shit actually happening here for once. But
Hope not.
I'm
you guys
thinking more-
think the supply chain issue was bad when you couldn't find toilet paper and fucking hand sanitizer during the pandemic? Just wait, because shit's gonna get fucking silly.
Now, there is a theory I heard, and I don't know the validity of it, is if we put the same kind of sanctions on China that we did Russia, they will start starving in 6 months.
Yeah, because we
Because of
export
the
most of our grain
population.
to them.
Yeah, I did not realize how much food was imported.
A lot
Okay.
because their major product is sea life and rice. And that's pretty much it.
So, and then you got crazy Rocket Man throwing more rockets into the ocean.
So North Korea's lobbed
some-
3 fucking rockets.
One of
By
them
the
was an
way,
ICBM.
Putin just came out Tuesday their time and said,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
we're
His
pulling out of the
response?
2010 fucking nuclear accord that puts a cap on how many nuclear warheads we can have. Fuck you,
That's the
we're back to
last
that."
one that was the last treaty left.
So he pulled out of his last treaty. We got fucking North Korea lobbing rockets.
China may start supplying ammunition and military equipment to Russia.
We got Iran sending fucking their 8 Navy ships to
Drones.
fucking Argentina.
I haven't heard much about that lately. I heard it was Panama Canal.
Yeah, well, it's going through the Panama Canal to get to not Argentina, but Venezuela. They're going to dock there and hang
Well,
out
yeah,
with
and
those assholes.
if they try to take control of the canal, that also shutters things. But I don't think we got a problem with them. But if we get spread out amongst the world,
It's just-
the world's largest navy, yeah, it just to me, from what I study history, it seems oddly familiar. You know what I mean?
It's almost
are you-
like even
Are you guys?
it's almost like they're positioning themselves just in case. They're like, maybe now's the time because he's looking like he's not going to win the election. So if we're going to try some shit on the feeble president, let's make our move now.
And I do not want Trump to run again.
Nope.
I would like DeSantis to run, but unfortunately, if the field is as busy as it is, that's going to favor Trump.
I'm going to be the fucking selfish fucking Floridian. Ron DeSantis is my governor, has more of effect on my daily life than him being my president, so I want him to at least serve another term down here.
So,
because he vetoes all the nonsense that comes down from Washington.
Gordon, if you don't like Trump, you must like Biden. No, motherfucker. It means you can like neither.
Yep.
That is the thing.
Are you guys thinking that it's time for U.S. citizens to strap up?
No, I think it's
Because
time
we
for
don't
U.S.
already?
citizens to start fucking exercising and losing weight.
Which I am doing, although I did hit a
I did a video today
bump
about.
in the road.
I did a video yesterday about my soup cans and put it up on TikTok.
Yes, I did. It could be used as a weapon too.
You realize how heavy four cans of soup are?
Thus the weapon.
All the people sitting around playing Fallout, watching fucking zombie shows and having these weird romanticized fucking, oh, if the end of the world ever came, I would fucking survive. Really, dude, you'd get winded carrying a fucking 5 cans of soup in your backpack with a fucking Glock, let alone fucking water, ammunition, a fucking plate carrier, and half the shit that you would need in worst case scenario.
I have 30 days worth of emergency food stores for one person. So that's 15 days for the both of us. And if you pare that back, you may get 20.
But you live in a highly congested area where people break into houses on a good football night. So
I live on a main street. My brother-in-law, I looked at my brother-in-law at my sister-in-law's 50th birthday party. I said, hey, you ready for World War III? He goes, yeah, me and the other guys already talked. We're going to meet at my house because it's not on a main drag, and we got some pretty good purchase.
I said, where are you going to hang out for 30 days?
I was like, yeah, because I would just be staring at the 7-Eleven and McDonald's.
Watching
thinking,
it burn.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Trying to get over there and get food myself.
Not that we're in a better situation, but.
Actually, you're targeted for nuclear attacks, too.
Yep.
So are we.
We're going to go out
So
with
is Northern
bang.
Kentucky. Everywhere is.
Yeah.
And me being Nellis right here, that's a major Air Force training base. That's and then you've got Area 51, and as we refer to as Creech, that's where all the drones are flying out of.
And not to mention, we live on a big ass peninsula. So if for some reason, not that it would ever happen, but if you had a coalition of assholes wanting to do an amphibious landing somewhere, there's
Coming in from Cuba.
or Mexico or Venezuela or any of those southern communist / socialist countries down south.
Get
that
all
may
them
be-
Florida graters and crackers together
Yep, it's
behind
like
every blade of palm.
it's like, okay, they landed in Key West. It's time to burn the Cape Coral Bridge, Fort Myers Bridge, and make them go around.
They ain't going to pay that toll.
Slow them down in the Caloosahatchee and the fucking Peace River.
Yeah, maybe they'll get hung up in the red tide.
Yeah.
Wow, this water stinks.
Get stuck in the mangroves. Where is that? I can't find Gordon's new intro. Oh, yeah, here it is.
And now, from the What's in Your Head podcast news desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, here's Gordon Abernathy.
So we got a Florida-centric episode this evening.
Wait a minute, Gordon, how are you doing tonight?
Somebody had to do it.
He thought he was going to let it go off into the sunset.
I never quite understood that. How are you doing tonight? I think we've established this at the top of the show. But now, not so well. Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers.
I live
Coming
here.
in from, I believe it is Wink News.
That's it, baby.
WINK.
Matt
Wink,
Divot.
wink. What constitutes the perfect dessert?
I would say Dutch apple pie straight out of the refrigerator. Is
With
it
some
me
vanilla ice
or
cream?
is apple pie better cold than warm? Are you a warm pie guy or a cold pie guy?
I am a warm pie guy with cold vanilla ice cream.
No, I like when it's fresh out of the refrigerator because the apple and the slime
It's all
and everything
congealed.
is just there. It doesn't
Mhm.
escape. It doesn't run for the
But
hills.
there's something about the heat that makes the flavor pop more. Anyway, is it
Anywho,
the
I'll eat it either way.
Cotton candy don't get wet until it's in your mouth.
You know, is the things about their childhood. What could it be? You know, I guess strawberry shortcake is technically the official dessert of Florida.
Say what? Well, that makes sense. We do have a lot of strawberry farms down here.
But there's no denying that the true king of the sweet life or salt life in Florida, wink,
Boom,
wink,
boom.
is key lime pie.
What? I've never had a key lime pie in all my years. It's
Bet
an
you
acquired
forgot
taste. If you get that,
Myself, I like a good lemon meringue.
if you get that reference, you're welcome.
No, I got it. There's a long contested history regarding the citrus-inspired treat. Ship salvagers and Key West cooks all lay claim to the original recipe containing the filling of condensed milk, some egg yolks, key limes, of course,
Of course.
baked into a graham cracker crust until it's, set perfectly. Whether you prefer meringue or whipped cream topping, it is obvious that the key lime pie is a staple of a Florida menu. When I was in Naples,
Nepal,
went
if
to
you will.
restaurants, key lime pie was on everybody's menu.
Never looked.
But that's why one brilliant Fort Myers man went out of his way to obtain his favorite post-dinner treat for his mother's birthday.
Did he steal it from Perkins?
Y'all still have Perkins?
Oh, yeah, we saw Perkins.
Fuck yeah.
You have to drive
And
all the way down
Denny's.
to Bullhead City here. He took the custard creation and secured it in his refrigerator. I don't know how well he secured it.
Moist.
Which would stay there until the big day of her birthday.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good boy.
He even warned another person in the resident, one David Paulson.
Hey, David, don't touch that fucking key lime pie. That's Mama's.
His name is David Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
Paulson. Powelson. Paulson.
That's man tits. His name is Robert
Yep.
Paulson. No, bitch tits.
Bitch
Bitch
tits.
tits.
is Robert Paulson.
To please leave his mother's present unsullied in the icebox.
Is he saying don't
Number
fondle my
one.
mom's pie?
They still have ice boxes in Florida? But Paulson was
I don't think the guy knew how to
Empty.
spell refrigerator.
a freezer. Yeah, a refrigerator.
You know how many
I
good
think
tweets I've had
Paulson
to
was-
not
well,
do
he
because
was
I can't
tempted.
spell.
It was like a gravitational force
Key
that
lime
drew
pie.
him to drew the dessert remnants of a cartoon character who is losing control over this pie waiting.
The
This is
little-
when I exaggerate this
The little
story.
fuse with the twink, twink,
I
twink.
was gonna say, did he float over the air with the fucking?
Yes, like Fred Flintstone or what the little yeah.
Hey,
Two
man. Billy.
Hey, Mayan. So, on February the 15th, at around 5 p.m., the man slipped into a daze in his recliner when something caught his eye. I bet he smoked a big fatty. Paulson wasn't just eating his prized possession, but was making sure that there was no crumb left behind.
No.
So, it sounds like Paulson went absconded with the pie and made sure there was no evidence left. This is when the Fort Myers man in question asked, "Why didn't you save me at least one piece?"
So at my house.
As the man's blood began to boil over the disrespect shown for his key lime pie, he confronted David, and the two became embroiled in a war of words over this nice dessert. In his attempt to de-escalate things, Paulson tried to cool off his heated opponent by dumping 2 glasses of water all over the pieless victim.
I
We're going to
understand.
cool off. We're going to give you the cold water challenge.
In death, a member of Project Mayhem has a name. His name is
His
Robert
name is
Paulson.
Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
That was our
His
copyright
name
strike.
is Robert Paulson.
Come on, guys, please stop it.
24 seconds. We should be good.
How old were you, Mike, when that movie came out?
I was
That
only
came
3.5
out
years
in
old.
1999. So I was 7.
So you didn't get to see it in the early 20s in the theater.
No,
No,
he
I
missed.
didn't get to see it in the theater, but I did see it on when it came out. I think what was it? What was it back in the day when a movie would come out
straight to video.
straight to video? Yeah.
Well, not straight to video, but it would go to Blockbuster, DVD.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs I like to jam was one of my favorite bands in the '90s, the Pixies. At the end,
Pixies. Where is my head?
Where's my mind?
Yes.
Mind. Excuse me.
So you missed out on watching Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels in your early 20s. Snatch.
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir
What was it?
Dogs. Snatch. Basically,
Snatch is good.
the late 90s Guy Ritchie movies were fantastic, which he's finally coming out with a new one. Have you not seen Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels? Or Snatch?
Don, you're going to have a.
If you can't find them streaming, let me know. I have them on DVD. If you can put them in your Xbox and watch them.
All right.
Fantastic fucking movies.
Smoking Aces.
Watch, and I would suggest watching them in order because they're kind of almost in a Quentin Tarantino way. They're not related, but they kind of take place in the same area amongst the same group of, ne'er-do-wells. And so I'd watch Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels first, and then watch Snatch.
So you didn't get to see Pulp Fiction in the theater?
No. I mean, I've seen Reservoir Dogs.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
I love that movie.
Jackie Brown.
1, 2, and 3.
No, you're thinking
Kill
Kill Bill.
Bill.
Kill Bill. Seen that.
Can I add a news story
Search
to your
for Animal
news?
Chin.
Huh?
Search for Animal Chin.
Nope.
They rebuilt that ramp, by the way.
Yes, they did. That's an old Pal Peralta movie with Tony Hawk,
Steve
Mike
Caballero,
McGill,
Lance Mountain.
Steve Caballero. Back in the day.
I'm going to jump in on your news.
Yep.
We've all seen that giant statue of what appears to be a metallic balloon animal dog. I think it's in Chicago or one of those cities.
The Bean.
No, not
It's
the
called the
beam. This one actually looks like a balloon animal dog.
Okay.
It's a big one, which is based off some smaller ones by an artist named Jeff Koons. Visitor
You're
breaks
such a racist.
iconic balloon dog sculpture in Miami.
Did you shoot it with a $400,000 rocket?
At first you're thinking, is this another one of these fucking protesters that are throwing shit on shit and this, that, and the other thing? That sort of thing doesn't happen in Florida. That's all over, Switzerland and Europe and the Porsche Museum. Please don't touch the artwork. Now and then we're reminded as to why these signs are all over the installation and the museum. Art lovers in Miami looked in horror Thursday night when a collector accidentally knocked off a $42,000 sculpture by U.S. pop artist Jeff Koons to the ground. This rich old bag walked up to the display and went tap, 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 in which the probably 1 foot by 2 foot sculpture of what looks like a balloon animal dog slid and shattered all over the ground. She had tapped it with her finger, a witness of the event said. The statue, one of Koons' most iconic dog balloons, smashed into tiny shards and had to be swept into the dustpans by gallery staff. The accident happened during an exclusive VIP-only opening night at the Art Wynwood, a contemporary art fair held annually in Miami, Florida. Nice job, Miami. Local artist Stephen Gamson told the Miami Herald he was admiring the sculpture when the quote old lady tapped it, knocking it off the pedestal. As Gordon implied, at first he was wondering if it was part of some performance art piece, kind of thinking like Bansky, anyone? But quickly realized it had been an accident.
Oops.
Quote, when the thing fell to the ground, it was like how a car accident draws a huge crowd on the highway, Mr. Gamson told the paper. Luckily for the woman, the piece was covered by insurance. Some French joint that I can't pronounce. An art advisor with Bel Air Fine Art Galleries, which represents the sculpture, said, quote, "It was an event," Mr. Clouch told the Miami Herald. "Everybody came to see what happened." She added that the woman who caused the damage, who has remained unnamed for good reason, was an art collector. Quote, life just stopped for 15 minutes with everyone around. He added that the colleague spoke to the woman who said she was very, very, very sorry and just wanted to disappear. The sculpture was part of a limited edition, which has now shrunk from 799 pieces to 798. Thanks, Miami. That's a good thing about my collection, Mr. Boito told the Times, laughing. Despite being shattered into 1,000 pieces, there is still interest in buying the destroyed sculpture. So they'll just put it in a baggie with a Ziploc on it, slap a fucking $35,000 price tag on it, and sell the damn thing. His range of balloon dog sculptures are among the most iconic works of contemporary art and have been sold for tens of millions of dollars. Some are enormous, as high as 10 feet, but it's still ill-fated. I'm sorry, but this still ill-fated one was just a puppy at 16 inches. Yeah, so there's one that's like at some city park. It's like 10 feet tall. And so, yeah, you can't have nothing nice. You would think that somebody who made it to a certain point in their life, whether it was through their own up-and-comings or their spouses, who would find themselves at a extended age at a VIP invite only on grand opening night of an art museum, would be old enough to fucking know better.
Don't touch
The $42,000 12-inch statue.
Well, we are in the ADHD news hour, so I wanted to kind of catch you up on what happened to Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
David Paulson. With everything that happened and the glasses of water being dumped over the victim, whose pie he ate, the county sheriff's office was called.
Yeah, they were.
And what would the sheriff say?
Oh, no, just put a camera in front of me, won't stop talking.
Where the victim and Paulson each explained their side of the story. According to the arrest report, somebody was arrested.
For pouring water on somebody?
Following a brief investigation, Paulson was arrested and charged with battery on a person 65 years and older.
Was it hot water?
So, lesson B, no, because it was to cool off. He dumped 2 large glasses of water over the pilot's victim. So let this be a lesson in Florida. If you're to dump water, let it not be over somebody over 65 years of age.
This was not a first incident with this gentleman. Because I don't care, even at 65, you're not going to call the police if someone dumps some water on you. That water would just happen to be the straw that broke that particular fucking inflated dog balloon's back. The fact that the police actually saw enough to put, I'm sure the cops have been to this place many a times before, to be willing to arrest somebody and bring them up on charges on assault for pouring water on somebody. This was a, hey, let's get this fucker out of here for a few hours so you guys have time to cool off.
Out.
Yeah.
Next Florida story.
Don't touch my pie.
85-year-old woman. Florida woman was killed Monday when an alligator attacked her as she was walking her dog.
Stay away from the fucking lakes, dumbasses.
This is in St. Lucia. How close is that?
St. Lucie?
Yep.
It's on
Port St. Lucie or just St. Lucie?
Community in St. Lucie.
St. Lucie's on the other coast.
Okay. Well, the woman was walking her pet by, as Don said, a pond in a retirement community in St. Lucie when a 10-foot alligator jumped out and grabbed her.
It's a gated community. How'd the alligators get in?
Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission responded to the scene at Picante Circle in the Spanish Lakes Fairway community after witnesses called 911. A news report from Fox Tampa said. The woman's body was recovered, and a nuisance gator trapper, I think he's a little more than a nuisance, was called, I think he's a murderer, called to capture the alligator.
Those guys have skill. I've seen videos
and a lot of electrical tape, apparently.
Well, they fucking snag these things with a trouble hook.
Don't use plumber's tape on that, do they?
They like just look around and say, I think it's over there, and they just throw a big fucking trouble hook on a paracord, and they just snag the fucking thing and bring it in. It's insane how quickly they'll bring these things in with nothing more than a paracord and a trouble hook.
Because this is the ADHD news. When a plumber gets cut in the field, what do they put on it? That's a question I have. What would you use, Mike? What is the best Band-Aid in construction?
Duct tape.
Electrical tape,
Yep, electrical tape because it doesn't
but
stick to the
if you're
skin.
bougie, you'll put a little bit of paper towel and or toilet paper so that black sticky residue doesn't get in your open wound.
That is correct. And it will stay on all day long.
But if you got one of those highfalutin jobs, super glue works even better.
I remember when I was a young cub apprentice, but it burns. And I was working
pussy.
when I was working with a plumber who was very religious. He owned the company. I said, "You know what the difference between me and you are?" He said, "What's that?" I said, "I handle the power of God." He did not like that. Well, Gordon, what do you mean? It's because electric signals are everywhere and everything, including inside of us. But I was a little cocky back then. But at the end of the day, the only difference is pipe and wire versus pipe and water. And the theory behind how water works and electric works is very, very close. But that being said, this is going to be shocking, because apparently it was shocking to all the news people out there, at least in the AP. Study shows striking number who believes that the news misinforms.
What? No. Only people who misinform are people on the internet
I was
with
going to talk
YouTube
about
channels
this
and
last week,
podcasts.
but I didn't. New York, AP News. Half of Americans in a recent survey indicated that they believe national news organizations intend to mislead, misinform, or persuade the public to adopt a particular point of view through their reporting.
No. You're
The
trying to say
survey-
that they think journalism is dead?
Was released on some Wednesday this month by Gallup and the Knight Foundation, two big poll companies. Goes beyond others that have shown a low level of trust in the media to a startling point where many believe that there is intent to deceive. Ask whether they agree with the statement, and national news organizations do not intend to mislead. 50% said they disagree.
You mean the
Only
80%?
25% agreed, according to the study.
You mean like 90% of TV revenue comes from pharmaceutical companies, and all the TV-based news is all about pharmaceuticals?
Wear your mask. This is brought to you by Pfizer.
Yep. Get the
Ask
jab.
whether
'Cause
they
we
agreed
care.
this. Yes. Similarly, 52% disagreed with a statement that disseminators of national news cared about the best interest of their readers, viewers, and listeners.
Tell me
It's
it never
amazing.
worked in media.
What's amazing is this is still close to a 50-50 split,
Yeah.
according to the study.
Do you
It
ever
is
sit
at
back
20
and like have a hard time understanding how there could possibly be so many dumb people in the world?
Yeah, I just walk around in the world.
It's like, how are people buying
You've
into
been to
this?
Walmart?
And then like you can't wrap your mind in the fact that certain people just can't see like the truth in certain things. Like, okay, sure.
Not to sound like Adam Carolla, I thought adults were smart when I was a kid until I became an adult.
Yeah. Maybe they were smarter back then, though.
It said that 23% of respondents believed journalists were acting in the public's best interest. 23%.
And 15% of those were journalists' parents.
And those are probably people who watch news on MSNBC and Fox and say the news doesn't even agree with itself. It can't make up its mind. That was pretty striking for us, said Sarah Ferroni, a consultant for Gallup. Really? Are you not paying attention? The findings showed a depth of distrust and bad feelings that go beyond the foundations and processes of journalism, according to her. Journalists need to go beyond emphasizing transparency and accuracy to show the impact of their reporting on the public, according to the study.
That's still advertising.
Americans don't seem to think the national news organizations care about the overall impact of their reporting on society, says John Sands, Knight's editor, senior director for media and democracy. Now, one small consolation in both cases, and I fall into this, Americans have more trust for local news.
You better. You got
Much
to pay
more.
$20 for the fucking right to watch them.
The ability of people to instantly learn from news from a device that they hold in their hand, and the rapid pace that news cycles and increased numbers of news sources would indicate that more Americans are on top of news today than ever before.
Is that what
Instead,
you
the
call it,
information
having a
overload
device in your
appears-
hand?
Right? Instead, the information overload appears to have an opposite effect. The survey said 61% of Americans believe these factors make it harder to stay informed, while 37% says it's easier. But my agreement with the harder to make informed is what's true. What I want, and I've last couple of weekends, I'll go through the news because the shit's going on, and I'll turn on various national news networks, and it's always a fucking editorial.
Yep.
Or an opinion piece. I want a news station that just gives me the facts, ma'am. Just like Sergeant Friday said.
Yep.
Just the facts, ma'am. Give me the facts. All I want to do is know what happened. I don't want any input on how it affected people. I just want to know what happened. Period. Train blew up in Ohio after derailment. That's all I need. If I want to look further into the story, I could go down the rabbit holes. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. People are not trusting the news.
Nope.
And I do have one more story out of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Sure.
From the AP. Also, the sight of a massive hammerhead shark was a rare treat for 32 travelers on their tour boat in the Bahamas this week. But then something stranger still. A dog dove from a nearby dock to confront the monstrous sea creature.
Eat a
Tourists aboard a
2-week-old unrefrigerated pie. Dumb ways to die.
Right? Tourists aboard a 4-hour excursion, not 3, can be heard shouting and pleading with the dog to turn back in a video circulating on social media. Oh my God, get out, baby. Stop it going after it. The dog ignored them. It had to have been a pit bull. The dog ignored them and paddled after the 12-foot shark, which thrashed as the two animals circled each other in the transparent turquoise water near a private island in the southern Bahamas. The shark swam away slowly, much to the delight of and surprise of the crowd. I don't think the shark was going to mess with him, exclaimed one man. The shark had emerged from under the boat during the tour on Wednesday in the southern Bahamas, organized by Exuma Water Sports. The company reservationist manager Rebecca Lightburn told the Associated Press on Friday that the black and tan dog always runs along the shore to greet the boat when it passes the island, but this is the first time she's seen it dive in. I guess it's time the dog decided it wanted to protect our house or play with a really big fish in the water, so he went after it. Needless to say, the shark swam away from the pier. The medium-sized dog scrambled back onto the rocks and loped away, earning the applause from the tourists. The boat then headed to the popular area where the tourists jump into the water with renowned Bohemian swimming pigs. Tell you what, we went to the Bahamas. My wife came back with a staph infection because they dumped the sewage in the water.
Yeah, that happens. Especially when he's swimming with
Sandals.
pigs.
That's it. That's all we got for news.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. We want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. And if you like, please head over to d-410.com or whatsinyourhead.com and click on the Patreon link. Sign up and subscribe. It'll cost you $1 a month, and it'll go a long way to support what we do over here at the network. And while you're there, click on one of the links that'll take you to our YouTube channel. You can search for Digital 410, or you can search for What's in Your Head, or any of the other things we do over here. And like and subscribe and watch us on the video. Speaking of video, this will be the last week that we're going to broadcast directly to Facebook. From this point out, we are going to just broadcast directly to YouTube and then share the YouTube link to Facebook, so you can still get notified that we're here. We're just trying to consolidate our video stream into one area. It just makes it easier to track numbers and all of that good stuff. And so, and we have seen side by side that for whatever reason, through bandwidth throttling, the feed on YouTube is far superior than that shows up on YouTube, on Facebook.
Yeah, I can't even watch Facebook. It just
circles. So we'll post and we've been doing that with What's the Scuttlebutt the whole time. For whatever reason, our system would only let me stream to this channel. So we've been doing What's the Scuttlebutt. So we're just going to move that over here. And so next week you will see the link on Facebook, but it'll just take you over to YouTube and everybody can communicate and hang out in the same location. Thank you guys so much. For myself, Gordon, and Mike, we will talk to you all next week. I said next week.
This has been a Digital 410 production.